Hello. Welcome to Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens, where we explore the behaviors, actions, words, thoughts that actually define you far greater than what your products what you may have envisioned, what your products indicate, what your services indicate, with a vision that you want to put forth. Your behavior that is predicated on your words, which are predicated on your thoughts, all determine how people perceive you. And as I always encourage my listeners, be very intentional about your thoughts, your words, and then your actions. Today, we're talking about self sufficiency and versus belonging, balancing the two. And why is that important? Have you been in a room and it's a packed room? It could be an auditorium. It could be a banquet hall. It could be an arena. It could be a conference room full of people, and you feel all alone. You feel like, I just don't fit in. I don't belong. I don't feel a sense of belonging. And it's in those moments that while we are called to those spaces, while we're required to be in those spaces, that we must be very secure in who we are and be self-sufficient. What does that mean? Being very obligated to our own experiences, embracing our own thought patterns, our own core values, our own skill set, and showing up with all of that as a package that people just can't refuse. How about that? And you know they can't refuse it if they're the right audience for whom you should belong in that moment in time. And so there's a balance that we need to have, because I see too often, and quite honestly, I have been in that position as well, to be on one side of the spectrum versus the other. Meaning if you're too far on the belonging side of the spectrum, that you're too dependent on the people in the room to define who you are, to define your meaning, to make your life a purposeful life. You're too dependent on the people at the table to define your next, to be able to define how you're going to grow and how you're going to prosper and how you're going to show up in the world, or if you get to show up at all. And I just experienced that most recently in the last weekend or so. It's like, I'm in this room. I belong with these people. I'm associated with the same organizations, but yet there's a sense of not quite belonging, not fitting in. I'm going to make sure I share this. Not quite belonging, not fitting in. And so what do? I make sure that I am self-sufficient in who Yvette is, who I've been called to do, how I've been called to show up in the world. Show up, not in arrogance, but very self-sufficient, very confident in what I am packing and what I can offer to those who need what I have. And no longer looking for validation outside of me. Now, obviously, when you're selling or when you're offering your services to organizations or individuals, you want clients, you want customers, and that in itself is a validation. But to have people or wait or depend on others to validate you that you're in your right space means that we need to make sure that we are clear on how we are showing up. We're clear on how we're showing up. I'm just going to check here because I'm getting messages. Well, we'll keep going and then we'll share afterwards because I'm not seeing it here. We'll keep going, keep going. So, how we show up is important. self-sufficiency versus belonging, and balancing the two. So the far end, where we just talked about, is belonging, is being too dependent on those in and around you, those in with influence in that sphere to determine who you are and where you're going to go, versus being too self-sufficient that I don't need anybody else. And I determine everything, who I am and all that I'm going to be and where I'm headed, and I can do this by myself. Who knows? How many of you out there know that we are not a man unto ourselves? We are not an island unto ourselves. We cannot do that. Not successfully and not sustainably. Not for a long period of time. We need other people, but we first must be very comfortable in who we are and what we're packing, our core values, our experiences, our knowledge, our education, our obligations, even, because our obligations also determine how we show up. And that's where we need to be, balancing the two, self-sufficiency and belonging. Self-sufficiency and belonging. And too often we're not doing that. We're not balancing that. We need to show up strong and confident. And to be honest, any organization and the people around you, especially if you're a leader, they're expecting you to have confidence, to have great self-sufficiency, but yet give them a sense of belonging. Give them a sense of knowing that you're a part of their team and they're a part of your team. This is a team. This is a team that we want to keep, that that we all come to the table with something that's far greater than any one of us can contribute alone. And then there's a level of belonging that's greater than anybody in that room. Because to be honest with you, those who are in the room, while they may validate you, while they may be on the journey with you, what happens when they're not there? The next question is, who are you belonging to then? Do you fall into this slump of, I'm an outcast, I'm all by myself? And that's why I encourage you to, there's a greater belonging that we all need to reach. One who will never leave us, will always be by our side, is the reason why we've come, is the reason why we're doing what we're doing, is the reason why our abilities are such. The one who we can go to and ask for all wisdom. If you can believe in someone greater, the greater one, then you're belonging to the best. And then the belongings beneath that, the instances where you can connect with individuals and organizations and movements, with those things where you can belong, are beneath the ultimate belonging. When you're there, then it makes sense. Then when these go away, or they decide, yeah, we don't want you to be a part anymore. Because have you had that happen? You feel you're a sense of things and you're a part of it. And then all of a sudden, there's a standoffish feeling. There's a put off feeling that you get when you encounter those who used to welcome you with open arms, who used to greet you with a authentic smile, a wholehearted smile, a wholehearted hello, as opposed to trying to impress upon you where they are and what their latest move has been. When that happens, then you won't be slighted, you won't be taken off guard, because you have a greater sense of belonging that's unshakable, that's dependable, that will always be there, always, no matter what. And so when this core of individuals, or this arena, or this culture, or this atmosphere starts to back off of you, then you are not going to be slayed. And honestly, there is something that happens internally there could be a slight sense of loss, because we're connected. When we're connected to people, um, regardless of how deep or how shallow, there is a sense of loss, but it should not be crippling, because you're secure in who you are and what you're doing and why you've come. I've been asking people that question when I'm in conversations with them, when I'm meeting with them. Why have you come? And that is a question that we all need to answer and be very secure in. And this is what the framework, my proprietary framework, Victor, is all about. Helping organizations and individuals or teams really be able to go from vision to results. Vision, really being clear. And I met with a woman who came to my table over the weekend, and I was sharing about who I am and what I do, helping leaders really create healthy cultures where everybody can thrive, including themselves. And I was talking about the vision piece, and she said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I need, because I'm not sure where I'm headed." And she's a business owner serving clients and actually having more clients than she can serve. And she's really in this transitional period. And that's usually who I'm serving, those who are in a transitional period. I've been where I have been, but I know I'm supposed to be headed someplace else. And I'm just not clear on where that is. I'm the person you need to talk to. I'm the one that we need to connect with and get together. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's connect today. Let's connect today, because there is a way that we can go from vision to results. Vision, that Victor framework is vision, identity. And it's not that you didn't know who you were, but it's like, I'm evolving. I'm going through a metamorphosis. I may have been hidden in the past, or I may have been hidden in what I was doing in the past, but there is a newness in me. There's a newness coming forth that I need to figure out my way to get there. So you have vision and you have identity. And then how do you navigate that change? How do you go from where you are to going to where you're going, even including and embracing the resistance, because there will be resistance? And then rallying and understanding the team and the tribe you need to connect with. And then understanding the opportunities that come forth, that the right opportunities for you, so that you can get the results that you need. That's the Victor framework. And that's where I help you as a leader, as an individual, as organizations, as teams, go from vision to results. So that when we're in the full room, when we're in the arena, when we're in that space at the table, and we just don't feel like, I just don't feel like I fit here anymore. Or they see something in me because I'm starting to question where I am. I'm starting to explore my next. And in exploring my next, where I have been is not necessarily receiving me anymore. Or they're not quite sure if they should still align with me. They're not quite sure if they should still connect with me because maybe it's too risky, because they're still really dependent on belonging in that space. And that's okay, because everybody has to have their own journey. But when you're transitioning, you need to be free to transition and have a space and an individual and a coach that can help you transition and walk with you so that you find your next place of belonging, so that you can be self-sufficient in whatever room you walk into, whatever table you take a seat at. Yet you take your power seat because you are confident in everything that you are packing, everything that you're bringing forth, not in an arrogant way, not in a way that is going to make people be, but a way that will draw people and compel people to want to know more about you and to get more of what you have. If you're that leader and you have a team and you're moving that team forward, that self-sufficiency and going through that transition and applying that Victor framework will help you move and go through the change and navigate through that change. Lead them through that change in a way that you see results in each individual, including yourself, because we all have to be open for change. Some refer to me as a changeologist, the business ambassador. We need to be comfortable with change, because if we're going to become our greater selves, we will forever have periods of transition. And once you know how to go through one successfully and you have the coaching to go through that successfully, then you absolutely will be able to go and navigate through other changes. I am a speaker, I'm a coach, I could facilitate workshops. I am here to help others go through. Why? What qualifies me? Because I have been there, let me tell you. Let me tell you. And what really, I selected this topic today because just this past weekend, I was in a room full of people at tables, a table with people where I technically belong, but did not feel belong. Felt like I was being tested, felt like I was being felt out, being trying to feel me out, trying to understand. And I get it. Some of those people didn't really know me, their first time meeting me, but yet it wasn't the same. It was like, in the past, I would have felt as though I had to prove myself. I recognized that this time I did not have to prove myself. I just was. And that's where self-sufficiency is. When you can get to a place where I can belong, but I can just be me and be okay confidently in who I am and what I bring to the table. And I'm okay if I don't have everything, because no one has everything. No one has everything. But you best believe what I do have, I am perfecting. I'm continuing to I'm approaching it with excellence. I'm continuing to mature it. I am there. And you can depend on me. I'm reliable to bring forth what I have, my experiences. And they don't have to equal yours. Matter of fact, it's better that they don't. Because how will we stand out if we're trying to be long and be exact to those who are around us? We don't need a lot of copycat or duplicates. We need to belong while being self-sufficient. We need to be apart without being identical. And if that's you, my information is scrolling across the bottom. Connect with me on LinkedIn at Yvette C. Owens. Send me a message. We can have some, I can send you my calendar. We can get together, have virtual tea or coffee. If you're in the local area, we could get together face to face in person. It's time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to balance belonging and being self-sufficient. And the belonging to a greater one than in the one who's physically in the room, so that we don't ever get thrown off by those who all of a sudden decide, yeah, you don't belong here anymore. Or they start to pull back. That's cool. It won't shake or disrupt you. I invite you to connect with me. My information is scrolling across the bottom. I also invite you to join me on January 9th at 7 p.m. in a live virtual Zoom room as we plan out a successful year. How do you plan out a successful year? I'm going to show you how to take your vision and absolutely roadmap it for the year, quarter by quarter, month by month, week by week, and knowing where you're going to focus your energy. Because if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. I know we've heard that before, but we also still don't plan. So I invite you to join me on January 9th at 7 p.m. That's a Monday evening. I'll put the link where you can join me so we can go for successful planning and identifying where you want to focus and then how you absolutely implement that throughout the year. And then if you want to go further with me, if you want to work further with me in really applying that Victor framework, let's connect and we can initiate that engagement. And then lastly, if you are one who wants to have someone come in and reignite, re-engage your teams, re-engage your organization. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I'm the author of Conquering Corporate Enemies, Mind, Personalities, and Situations. There is a companion workbook. I'm also the author of No Bosses Allowed, Lead to Serve and Transform. And so that compares and contrasts leaders and bosses. I know we like to say I'm bossing up and I'm the boss lady and all that. We would like to say that, but I want to caution you, it's far better for you to be a great leader than a boss. A lot of people are running from bosses, but they gravitate to great leaders. And this gives you 11 positions of a great leader and how to show up in that role. Again, I invite you to join me in a live Zoom room where we will chat. I will show you, we will walk through it, and you get the live recordings so that you can really work that plan. You get the handout so that you can actually map out everything so that your year won't be a year that you just talked about what you were going to do, but you execute on what you said you were going to do and you see the results. Remember, I always encourage my listeners, it takes all of us, every last one of us, to create a healthy culture where everyone thrives. It's time for us to create those cultures. It's time for us to start with us. And as we start with us, those who we're leading will do the same because they'll see it played out right in front of them. I encourage you, let's connect today, for we have much to do tomorrow. enjoy their day. I look forward to hearing from each of you. Thanks for joining. Share this and share it because someone else needs to hear this as well. Bye-bye now.